Hey there guys, we just had live stream number 75, and in this video I'll just be going over the main points, talking about them, etc. So I know I didn't really post much for Brave Exvius this weekend. Just completely honest here, the game's recent total lack of content, skipping stuff, etc. has just, curbed the enthusiasm a little bit. I've been spending most of the past week or so playing, games with more content than Brave Exvius. But anyway, let's talk about the live stream. So for the live stream, they jumped pretty much right into the new unit for the month. It is Chains of Fate. They said the name. I already forgot how they said it. Mirai. I think it's Mirai. They said it in the live stream. I already forgot how they pronounced it. We're gonna say Mirai. Anyway, she is a physical light unit. Specializes in light and dark elements, strong single target buffs. They previewed some of them during the stream. She's got a 400% stat buff for single target only. So, interesting, I guess. Give it to your best damage dealer. Has a field, obviously. So 50% light amp field. It's pretty nice. It's better than 40 and all that, but, I still kind of wish it'd be like 70 like the upcoming ones. But anyway, 50 light field, and Extreme Nova grants it to an enemy as well. Has an abilities that buff herself and allies. You know what I just said, basically. And then focus gems for morale content. We'll talk about that more later in the video. That's the Clash of Wills update. Here's one of the abilities they previewed. This is what I was talking about, a 400% stat buff single target for herself and an ally. So I guess two target, really, because it applies to her as well. So, sure. And then leader skill. So for whatever reason, we're still stuck at 500 leader skills. So there it is. It could be something better, but it's only 500 for whatever reason. I guess non-premiums aren't allowed to have good leader skills. So there you go, 500. Here is the TMR and STMR. The TMR is a two-handed whip, pretty much only going to be used by her. And then the STMR is a pretty nice materia. It's 100% killer to humans and reapers, and then gives some LB damage and double hand. So that's pretty good. I would definitely like a few copies of that STMR. I wouldn't say it's, worth chasing her just for the STMR. But it is really good. It is really, really good. No complaints there. And also, it's not a weapon. Isn't that nice? And then here's the vision card. Nothing special. Non-premium vision cards are, whatever. It's decent for what it is. 4 killers, LB damage, attack power, stats, etc. It's just, it's only got 140. So for veteran players, you're not going to use this. But it's pretty good for newer players. So, sure. And then the Clash of Wills stuff. And I'm kind of going a little bit quickly because, like I said, completely honest here, I paused a different game to watch the stream, and I really want to get back to it because I was having tons of fun. Anyway, in the game is Cerulum Ultimate. If people are going to ask, what are you playing? Cerulum Ultimate is one of those, niche games that I really enjoy. Anyway, Clash of Wills, another. So they're introducing Mania mode. This is... It's a lot of information. Hopefully I don't miss anything. But during Mania mode, we'll talk about more of that in a second. During Mania mode, the boss is strengthened. You accumulate focus and use focus gems, so more resources. If the maximum amount of gems are consumed, chance time will activate. Defeat the enemy during chance time to earn a score bonus. And I don't know why they call it a bonus, because you're basically going to have to get it to rank 1, because the way rank 1 works is you need to tie other players, and if anyone gets that rank 1, you will no longer be rank 1, meaning it's not a bonus, it's a requirement. And this is part of the reason I really don't like this whole new system. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Anyway, more information. What is Mania mode? So, if you follow the mouse right here where I'm pointing, this little bar at the top, or the eyeball, the bar behind it, and these little crystals under it, this is Mania mode, or the chance time, etc., the system for it. So, at the start of the battle, obviously, you're not going to have any, oh, I don't have the right screenshot. Hold on 1 second and let me This is where two. I'm on turn 2. Did I not record the right screen? Did I take the right screenshot? Oh boy, I can't find a screenshot. I'm not okay. I messed it up. So during turn 1, this eyeball will be closed. When the eyeball is closed, you're in regular mode, not mania mode. And I didn't take enough screenshots. My bad. So once your morale bar gets high enough, I think they said around 30 to 40%, around right here. Once the morale bar passes that point, the boss will go into mania mode. And they did it on turn 1 for testing purposes. They filled the morale bar, and then the eyeball opened. Now you're looking at mania mode. Like I said, the eyeball will be closed when mania mode is not turned on. It's at the start of the fight. And once you gain about 40 to 50% morale or so, it activates mania mode. What is mania mode? I think they have those pictures right here. They don't. It was a little bit disorganized the way they did it. They kind of jumped around a little bit, and the screenshots I took are in chronological order. So anyway, what is mania mode? There's a little summary later. So mania mode, the boss has higher stats, deals more damage, stuff like that. I think they said there's a maximum amount of breaks and imperils you can do during mania mode. So basically, mania mode just means the boss is a lot harder, a lot bulkier, a lot more dangerous. So kind of like frenzy mode, berserk mode, whatever you want to call it, they're calling it mania mode. Also, during mania mode, it will activate new skills on units called focus skills. And if I get any of this wrong, this is all from the live stream that I tried to memorize. I might be misspeaking some things, so keep that in mind. This is a general overview, not like the encyclopedia of what's going on. We'll have to play with that later once it's in game. But during mania mode, certain units, basically JP units, will have focus skills that can interact during mania mode. And these will fill the focus bar. You see this bar in the back, this purple bar? This will start filling, and each time it fills, I believe one of these little crystals will fill up. And these are focus gems, and they power up specific abilities that other units will have, like global exclusives. So right here, what is a focus ability? This was on, I think this was Noctis. Yes, you can see right here the little thing. Yeah, this is Noctis. So Noctis is one of the JP units being given focus abilities. So during Mania mode, you can use these new abilities Noctis will have only in Clash of Wills. Focused Energy Plus, Focused Instinct Plus, Focused Strike, Focused Beam, and Focused Defense Plus. And they showed you what some of these do. And it's a little bit blurry. That's how it was on the stream. I just took a screenshot exactly as is. So Focused Energy will fill the focus gauge. Remember this little gauge right here? It'll fill the gauge to allow you to get gems, which are coming in later. A little bit confusing, a little bit overwhelming, a lot of new information. I'm sure it'll make more sense once you get used to it. But you do that, and then it activates an autocast that'll start filling focus per turn. Think like Kresnik or Melissa, etc. So basically just having one of these specific JP units on your party that have the focus generation abilities, they allow you to fill the gauge. We already knew this from the preview in last month's live stream. So JP units, only specific JP units, will have focus abilities to fill the focus gauge. And these are vertex abilities. Now these are going to be on global exclusive units. The new unit Maya, or Meyer, I forgot her name already, the new ninja girl will have vertex abilities. These are used to spend the focus gauge. Now, these can only be used during Mania mode. And we'll talk more about that in a minute again. Like I said, a lot of information. So, depending on how many of the crystals you filled up, 1, 2, or 3, that's your level of Mania mode, or your vertex level, or your focus level. I don't know, there's so many new terms. That's the level. So, each filled up gem is like a mana, so to speak. So depending on how you filled, we'll show you here. So it'll cast either Earthly Binds 1, 2, or 3. So the goal is to fill all 3 because obviously that is, the better ability. So here is level 3. This is a 100% attack buff. Now, they said this is going to stack with everything. So it'll stack with passives, it'll stack with battle buffs, it'll stack with fields. So basically an extra 100% attack power on top of everything else, which is not super extremely powerful. That's not that big a deal. It's obviously nice, but it's not going to be game breaking. 100% attack when you've already got like 2,000 with everything combined, passives, leader skills, buffs, etc. It's not going to be that big a deal. But the important thing is you have to use a vertex ability to break the boss's Mania mode. If you don't use a vertex ability, the boss will never leave Mania mode. Meaning, you are going to have on your party one of the JP units that can fill the focus bar, because without the focus bar being filled, you can't use vertex abilities. And then you need one of the global units that has a vertex ability. So they only preview 2. Murray, I can see the name here. Murray has it, and Esther will have it. That's the only 2 they previewed. Maybe they're going to give more. I don't know, but the Esther one is, not good. But yeah, so you have to have a global exclusive and a JP to interact with it. Otherwise, the boss would never leave Mania mode, and I would assume he's going to be too hard to kill that way. Maybe not, I don't know. But you have to do it to get a rank 1, because we'll talk more about that in a minute. And right here. And here's chance time, so another term. So chance time is only for 1 turn. It's the turn after you break the Mania mode. So after so the boss starts normal. Once the morale gauge is filled high enough, he goes into Mania mode. Turns on, hard mode. During Mania mode, you fill the focus gauge with JP units. Once the gauge is either filled to the maximum or filled to the point you're satisfied with, you will use a vertex skill, which is only on specific global units. Once you do that, it will break Mania mode, and he will never go back into Mania mode. So this is a 1 time per battle encounter. During chance time, so the turn directly after you break Mania mode, the boss, the little red eye right here, will be fully open, and then the boss is weakened. And you have to do that to get the bonus points. They specifically said that if you don't do this, you will not get the bonus points for the clear, meaning you cannot get a perfect score, meaning you cannot get rank 1. Keep that in mind. And during chance time, I'm assuming that is your turn to burst him, because they said that during chance time the boss is weaker, which means lower stats means higher, easier to deal your damage cap. So that's going to be your damage cap turn. There you go. And right here, so chance time bonus is worth 5,000 points. So like I said, you have to get it for rank 1, because if Joe Bob does all modifiers perfect score and he did the chance time bonus, Joe Bob is getting 5,000 more points than you if you did everything perfect but didn't do the chance time. You see what I'm saying? So you have to get that to match the rank 1 score. So there it is. And let's a lot of screenshots. Hold on. Okay, so here's a summary. So I kind of already did the summary. So Mania mode, focus ability, vertex ability, chance time. Hopefully I explained that. And by the way, and then after chance time, the boss goes back into like normal mode. The eye will be closed, and he'll stay that way the rest of the fight. So the whole chance time, vertex ability, Mania mode, all that is 1 time per fight, and only specific JP units can do the focus. Only specific global units can do the vertex ability. Here's an example of vertex ability. So rank 1, remember, if you only filled 1 crystal, gives you 50 defense for 5 turns. Remember, these stack on top of other buffs. Level 2 is defense and spirit 50 for 5 turns, and then level 3 is 100 attack power for 2 turns, meaning the turn you activate it, which is your setup turn, and then the 1 turn directly after, which is very clearly being pushed as your burst turn. You're going to have to burst during chance time. And that'll give you an extra 100 attack power for that. And here's the one they're giving Esther. I guess they're just throwing everyone a bone, because if you don't pull Murray, I guess Esther will have the only other one available. They didn't say that specifically. There might be more. We don't know. We'll see Thursday. But if this was what they're showing on the preview stream, I'm assuming it's only going to be Esther, because this is terrible. For one thing, it's on Esther, who is terrible herself. And then, she was good, but she's just like really outdated. She's not good anymore. And this is her skill. So 30 lightning resist at level 3. That is so, who cares? That is such a whatever buff. But keep in mind, it will break the boss out of Mania mode or whatever. So if you don't have Murray, at the very least, this will get the boss out of Mania mode. But it means you're taking Esther. I don't want to take Esther. I don't want to take it. I guess if she can tank it, she can tank. That's fine if it's a physical tank fight. But if I have to take her as a damage dealer, and they never fixed her field, it still removes in peril fields, oh my god. What a handicap. But anyway. So, and these are focus abilities. They're being given to only JP units. And this is really part of the reason I'm irritated at Brave Exvius these days, is they're showing Luna Freya as an example after skipping her upgrades. They skip her upgrades, but they're like, she's getting a focus ability, take her to Clash of Wills. Okay, so obviously, though, these are Royal Arms category. So it looks like Royal Arms category are going to get the focus abilities. So that means True King Noctis, Deity of War Tyvis. Those two are decent in Clash of Wills. They're both pretty good in Clash of Wills. They got Clash of Wills upgrades. But if you... I guess Ramza did too, technically speaking. But, yeah, so if you don't have those 3 premiums, I guess your other options are units you really don't want to take to Clash of Wills. Rain is really outdated. Agrius is just not built for Clash of Wills. Luna Freya, her upgrades were skipped. What a joke. Snavlinka, her damage is terrible in Clash of Wills. So, yeah, this is a big thing that I'm not looking forward to. We'll talk more about my personal thoughts at the end of the video. Let's go over the information for now. But yeah, so Royal Arms category will have the focus abilities. I don't know if it's exclusively JP ones, because there is 2 Royal Arm global units. Samurai Chizuru and King Bahimi. Now, obviously, we're not taking King Bahimi because haha. But Chizuru, I guess, wouldn't be the worst dead slot. Her damage is a little bit low, but she's at the very least a Clash of Wills unit. So she's got a few things that she can do there. I still wouldn't want to have to take her, but, it's an option, I guess. Also, they mentioned that these will rotate every month. So next month, these are not going to be the focus ability units. They're going to give you a new bunch of units. So you cannot just, for example, pull Noctis and expect him to be your focus ability unit every month going forward, because next month he's going to lose the ability. Well, some of these will. We don't know who. It might not be Noctis, but some of these abilities, some of these units are going to be off the list. Anyway, some changing to ranking rewards. So Xenostone shards are going to be... they're going to be giving you more of them, basically. So more Xenostones for getting higher ranks. A new ability is a new crafting material, high Celestite orbs, will be added to ranking. These are going to be used for the new gear. So more currencies. Isn't that fun? They're changing the completion reward, so you're getting more obnoxious drops in Xenostones per month. Very nice. Helps new players catch up. More mystery crystals, summon tickets, etc., and then eraser gigantwars for only some of them. Still, pretty nice. A lot of nice upgrades there. And then they previewed the Clash of Wills boss. It's going to be Komochi, Shinobi of unknown origin, human reaper insect. Looks pretty decent. Uses non-elemental. This is all stuff we saw during the news preview in game. This is also something worth noting. Will use a powerful counter if you deal elements other than his weakness. So if you use fire, ice, wind, water, or lightning, he will counterattack you. So don't do that. Or I'm sorry, ice is okay. The four that he's not weak to, just don't use them. During Mania mode, the boss will be powered up and have higher offensive and defensive parameters. When the vertex ability is used, the parameters and resist go down. Parameters can be reduced by up to 30%, and elemental resistance can be reduced by up to 40% for a maximum of 3 turns. I'm not entirely sure what this means. This means either, I don't know. No, this is Mania mode. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. So during Mania mode, from the way it sounds, you can only break him by up to 30%. So breaks have a cap of 30%, and imperils have a cap of 40%. If I'm reading this correctly, this is on Mania mode, so I'm guessing during Mania mode, yeah, the breaks are smaller and the imperils are lower, so you can't burst during Mania mode. So basically, you have to break him out of Mania mode to, get high damage, because a max of 40 imperil is not going to be good enough, if I'm reading this correctly. And then when you use an ability, it'll activate Chance Time, as we talked about. Some new gear. So there's 3 pieces of gear. So the Mask of Will is pretty generic from what we see here. And then enables Gilded Mystique. Unfortunately, at least I didn't hear it, they didn't talk about what Gilded Mystique actually is. So this mask is not super great unless Gilded Mystique is really good. So we have to see what that is. And then the coat is, again, stats are pretty terrible, but 100% evasion. That's pretty nice. 100% evasion. And then 3 stacks of guts. Not bad. So full evade in literally 1 piece of gear. And then this one, the Pendant of Will. So again, pretty bad stats, but Gilded Pendant. And this time they tell you what it is. Kind of. So boost the damage of certain LBs for caster. They don't tell us what it is. So basically, a modifier boost for LBs. That can be either irrelevant or required. Amazing. Really depends on what it works on and what the modifier is. I'm assuming it's going to be morale scaling LBs. I don't know. I'm assuming. And again, it depends how much. So if it's like, a 10 modifier boost, who cares? If it's a 500 modifier boost, well, that's required. But I'm sure it's going to be somewhere in between those. And then I think that was it. That's it. Yep. So that's the recap of the stream. As far as my personal thoughts on this stuff, let me get to the screen I want to talk about. There's so many screenshots. Right here. So this is what I don't like. For one thing, I also don't like the idea of basically forcing you into, it's like they're putting the fight on rails, so to speak. Like, it's a very narrow set of options. Instead of being able to come up with your own, interesting strategy, you're going to have to do your burst on the chance turn, obviously. So, like, instead of maybe I want to use a cool strategy with, like, Nora and Dwayne and do, like, a turn 6 burst or something, or I want to do whatever, you're going to just have to always do your burst on the chance turn. And that's just, again, just another, like, restriction on your flexibility in team innovation. I don't like that. It just makes it less interesting where they're boxing you in into exactly the way they want you to do the fight specifically, instead of just giving you a hard fight and letting players come up with, all kind of various strategies. That's the cool thing about problem solving these fights, is being able to come up with all kind of strategies. And the more they force you into a very specific way of doing the fight, it's less interesting to me when they do that, and I don't like that. Like, some of the videos I've done, I would do the burst turn on, like, the last turn of the fight. Like, we'd go to turn 9, and then I'd do this big burst and kill the boss. Or maybe I'd do it on turn 3 for some of the show-off clears. Well, now it's going to always be on the chance turn. Based on what we've seen, obviously things could change. I could be misunderstanding stuff, so that disclaimer's out there. But based on what they've previewed, it looks like they're going to just be the chance turn is the turn to do it, the end. But again, I could be wrong there. And then the other thing I really don't like is the whole focus ability, vertex ability thing, only going to specific units. Meaning, I am going to, or we are going to be forced to take Royal Arms category units, it looks like. Because otherwise, you just can't throw the focus bar. If you can't throw the focus bar, you can't break the gauge. And you can't get them out of Mania mode. You can't, you etc. You have to do it. So I happened to get lucky and got King Noctis from video summons. So for this Clash of Wills, I'm going to be fine. But I didn't pull on King Noctis. I skipped him. And if I hadn't got him from video summons, like, what are my options? I don't have Ramza or Agrius. And then, so it'd be like Rain. I would have to bring King Rain to the fight, who does no damage. The boss is not weak to fire, so he can't even do his fire amplify. He just basically just changed every turn, which used to be good damage 2 years ago. It's not good damage anymore. So he would be like a dead slot. And I don't like that. And then, of course, next month, they're changing it, which I would assume is going to be, you know, the new unit, the new big unit of the month. So if they do the Full Metal collaboration, it's going to be, you're going to have to pull Elric to do focus abilities. If they skip the Full Metal collaboration and they go right to New Business Plus, you're going to have to pull the new Lastwell to get focus abilities. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much always going to be the premium units. That's just the ones that they push the sales for. So yeah, it'll be just the new premium unit of the month. And the month after that, it's going to be, you're going to have to pull, who came next? Faye? I forget the schedule. But you see what I'm saying? They're going to rotate these focus abilities to the new big selling JP unit of the month. And if you don't pull that, well, you're stuck using stuff like Flaring Rain from 2 years ago, or Luna Freya. You see what I'm saying? And that's terrible. That's terrible. That's horrible. And then on top of that, you have to also have the new global unit to use the abilities, or you can use stuff like, you know, Esther, or whatever, or you're stuck with this kind of stuff. Like this was their chance to really comfort us by giving something recent and relevant a really good skill, and be like, okay, older units are going to be okay. But this is their example of a unit and a vertex ability is your alternative if you don't pull the new unit. So you're using Esther, who is more of a dead slot than Rain on clears, for damage. You know, for tanking, she can work. But for damage, she's more of a dead slot than Rain. And then her ability doesn't even do anything. 30 lightning resist is basically nothing. That being said, this one's not that big a deal either. So the ability themselves is not that big a deal. It's whatever. This is like obviously better, but it's not going to be very game changing. So the fact that the ability itself is terrible, not that big a deal. The bigger problem is you have to take Esther. So for a player that doesn't pull Mirai and doesn't pull Noctis, what are you doing? You're taking Flaring Rain and Esther. So 2 of your party slots are already totally dead slots for the clear. Totally dead slots. Rain's going to be doing like 30% of the damage of your big damage dealers, like, you know, Richt, etc. Not even Richt, like Aya Brea. And then Esther is just there to sabotage your fields. That's her only purpose, to sabotage your fields, because in 2 years they have not fixed her. So yeah. Do you see the reason I'm not really excited about the Clash of Wills? Because, for one thing, they are forcing you into a specific rotation. You gotta do it during chance time. And they're also taking away your options for team building. You gotta stick a focus unit on your party, so you gotta stick a JP unit, or some other, maybe Samurai Chizuru. So you gotta stick one of them on your party, and you gotta stick either Esther or Mirai on your party. Like, let me build my own party. Give me a break. Anyway, we'll see on Thursday. That's the live stream. All the information we had. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'm gonna go back and play some more Seriali. See you then, or Serialim.